Hey friends, happy Friday! Happy Friday! Well, thanks so much for joining us. Keep going. Um, well, as you probably have noticed, I have a different backdrop today, and that is because inside the store they're doing the native plant container garden workshop. So because of that, I decided to move the live outside so we weren't competing for space and so people weren't distracted by me talking during the live. So that's why I'm out here, but maybe we'll get to catch a few visitors at some of our feeders right behind me. So that's kind of exciting. Today we're talking about a very cool thing, and in fact, it's a celebration because today, and in fact all month long, we are celebrating National Pollinator Month. And yes, we know there is a lot of things happening this month out in the world, but National Pollinator Month is something every single person can celebrate because every single one of us relies on pollinators. Let's get to it. Let's get talking about it because I actually have a few upcoming events that I want to talk about. But we also have some new items I want to share before we get started on all talking about pollinators and how they are important, why they are important, and how you can help. So let's get to it. So some of the new things. So today was day one of the Good Steward Ecoscapes native plant sale. But he's back again tomorrow from 10 to 4 p.m. So be sure to stop by and take advantage of that sale because it might be one of the last ones that we have for the season. We'll see. I'm going to try to work out a fall one, but it might be the last one for us for the season. So if you want some native plants in your hands, last chance right here, okay? Next week, Saturday, that's the 21st, from 11 to 3 p.m., we have St. Sophia's Forgotten Felines. And you might be thinking, Ellen, what's cats have to do with birds? Don't cats eat birds? And yes, they sure can. They can oftentimes do hunt birds, even if they are well fed. So it's important to keep your cats inside, which is why I love St. Sophia so much, because St. Sophia, when you adopt from them, their organization, you commit to keeping your cat indoors because it keeps them healthy and safe, but it also protects the wildlife. So I think it's a perfect partnership. And if you've ever been to one of these cat adoption events, it's absolutely awesome. They have a cat adoption trailer, and yes, you can shop from the outside and look in all the windows of their cats and kittens, but you can go inside the trailer and hold and touch and everything, because what's a cat adoption event without holding those precious little babies, right? So they are going to be here from 11 to 3, but I have a tip recommendation. If you are seriously considering adopting during this cat adoption event, I recommend that you either go onto our website for that adoption application link, or see one of our event pages on Facebook. The link is there too. If you fill out that application ahead of time, you are more likely to do a same-day adoption. So if you're considering and looking in the market for looking for a new best friend, it might be worth the while to take the time to do the application ahead of time so that you can pretty much pick out your cat or kitten and take them home with you right away. Okay, so that's my tips for the cat adoption event, okay? And then the very end of June, we have a special pop-up shop from Kate's Crafts. She's local, I think, to Plainfield. But she does a bunch of cool graphic tees, and she does these really cool spinners. She crafts it all and decorates it herself, so it's pretty. Her t-shirts and tank tops have bird nerd and other fun bird related phrases on them that I know are right up your alley, right up my alley, especially the one that said distracted by birds. I think that one needs to be mine. So that Saturday, it's from 10 to 4 p.m. and we'll be here at the store. So support local and our local crafters, and you get to have some cool stuff too. So that's pretty awesome. Let's talk about the new item that has come in, and it's all about bird baths. This new item is called a bird, and what it does is if you have, let's just say, a large, very deep bird bath, and sometimes they are created that way, this will make it safe. So essentially, it floats in your bird bath or anything that can hold water. So say a barrel or a very large planter that you could potentially fill with water and use as a bird bath, but it would be too deep and not very safe for the birds. This will make it possible. So it floats in your container, whether it's a bird bath, it floats in there, and then it fills up because there are these holes, right? Holes on the bottom that will fill in just the right amount of water. So it keeps it safe. The raft is there. The birds can sit. They can still use the bird flotation device as a bath to bathe in and drink water. So I thought that was really cool. And a lot of you often ask, are there ways that I can make my pod or my usable for birds to use? This is it, guys. It's here. And I think it's a really good price. It's just under $15. So really cool. We have several of them in stock. So if you have an idea or a DIY project in your future, consider getting one of these bird bath rafts and making it really safe and usable for your birds. And make those creative items. Make it happen, right? All right, now we talked about that new thing. We talked about our events. Before we get into pollinators, I want to talk to you because we're having a giveaway tonight. So our giveaway, if you want to participate, we're giving away this really cool field guide. It talks all about local birds, butterflies, and moths, and it lists them so you can ID them. It also gives information on how big they are, where you can find them, and what their host plants are. Yes, it also talks about other pollinators, so we'll talk about what those exactly are here, and it talks about what identifying caterpillars. So oftentimes we see the adults in the yard, but sometimes it's tricky to ID what those caterpillars that we see are, and this is the perfect field guide for you. Also talks about the life cycles and how to compare the differences between moths and butterflies. So it's a really cool field guide, and if you would like to win this for free tonight, all you have to do is like this post, share this post to your page, and comment pollinators in the comments. Once you type in pollinator, I have known that you liked this Facebook Live post, you have shared it, and then now you're commenting to let me know that the tasks are done. And once we have everyone that wanted to participate in it, I will spin the wheel on Monday morning with all those names in it, and we'll pull a winner. And I will notify you that you are the winner, okay? We never ask for credit card or personal information for our giveaways. That's straight from us at Wild Birds Unlimited in Joliet. And if you are not local, if you place an order online and would like us to include your prize winning, we can do that. But I don't ship out giveaways. You have to come in store to pick them up, unless you want to do an online order for that, okay? All right, let's get to it. I'll talk about the giveaway again later, but I just wanted to mention that right there. Let's talk about pollinators. Why are they so crucial to our environment? They really impact our food supply and the beauty of our backyards. Have you ever gone into your yard, butterfly just sunning itself in the yard, or maybe drinking out of a puddler of yours? Have you ever had that happen to you? Well, I sure have, and I think it's just magical. Those moments of seeing our pollinators in action at the flowers and plants in our backyard, to the bees doing their busy work all around our yards, it's magical. The magic that happens with pollinators. And today, we're talking pollinators. So if you have seen a pollinator in your yard this year, I would like you to put in the comments either a flower, put an emoji flower, or put a bee or a butterfly in the comments here. That way I know the beauty of pollinators in your backyard. So what is a pollinator? Essentially, pollinators are creatures, animals, that move pollen from one flower to another. Okay, they're helping plants produce the fruit, the flowers, the seeds, whatever that plant produces, they help it do that task, that reproduction. Pollinators include not only bees and butterflies, which are sometimes the flagship of pollinators, but pollinators also include moths, beetles, like ladybugs, right? Hummingbirds, and even bats are pollinators. So they're pretty incredible. See, exactly. Donna's seen it. Bumblebees doing their pollinator business. It's a magical thing that you're witnessing because unfortunately they are on the decline. But I want to share this really important statistic here. Did you know that 1 of every 3 bites of food that you take was depended upon by a pollinator? Nearly 75% of our flowering plants rely or depend on pollinators to produce the fruit that they bear. It's absolutely incredible. I think about pollinators almost every time I have a salad or I'm eating those strawberries that are starting to grow. It's pretty unique and incredible. Oh, I think I skipped there for a minute. But even coffee and chocolate are things that are dependent on pollinators. We wouldn't have these items if we didn't have pollinators, right? I'm a big coffee drinker. I'm huge on coffee. I would not be able to survive. And so thank goodness that we have pollinators around that are still able to help make coffee, because I would be in a world of trouble. And talking about, unfortunately, those pollinator populations are in trouble. They are decreasing at an enormous rate. Wait for that loud truck to pass by us. So the 3 main things that are happening and why they are in decline are: number 1 is climate change, changing of weathers. So, for example, when it warms up unseasonably in the very, very early spring, again, that's kind of a big indicator of climate change. We're having an unseasonably warm spring that wakes up our pollinators to come out, but yet there are food available at that time yet, or they are just killed off because the cold it's really there still. We're still in the end of winter. So climate change is happening, and that's a big thing that affects pollinators. Pesticide use is another big thing that happens that affects pollinators. So when we use chemicals in our yard or around our yards, we're really harming the creatures that we rely on to help make our gardens look beautiful and help them flower and survive. So many of you, I know, are trying really vigorously to do and combat the biggest negative that's affecting the decline of pollinators, and that is the habitat loss. So I know many of you are making pollinator gardens, creating space dedicated to pollinators, because one of the biggest, if not the biggest, factor to the decline is that pollinators and natural spaces, things that pollinators need to survive and thrive, are becoming fewer and fewer. And even in those safe spaces, we're using chemicals. So we need to do something. That's why I love Nature's Best Hope, and some of other Doug Tallamy's books that really talk about our relationships with our yards and what we can do, because it's not all about the politicians and the scientists. It comes down to you and me. We create that. We are doing the work. It's in our backyards where the butterflies are coming, right? It's where the bees are coming. It's where your hummingbirds are coming. So we have a lot of say in how we can improve the population. So real quick, I want to talk about the butterfly stuff, because the monarch butterfly, they came out with a report that said that, monarchs are on the increase. They're not decreasing anymore. But I wanted to give you shed a little light to that statistic, that report that came out. Right? They talk about butterflies when they are in their wintering area in Mexico, where they are overwintering, and they measure the amount of butterflies in hectares, which is essentially like a couple acres of land that are filled with butterflies, right? So in the year previous, something hectares that where monarchs were covering that land. Well, this recent report said that last winter it was 1.75 hectares. So yay, we increased it from 0.9 to 1.5. But that's a huge but, because for monarch butterflies to be sustainable and say that they're actually on the incline, the number of hectares that they need to occupy is 9. So there is still a huge plight for monarchs. We can still do a lot of work and a lot of good helping pollinators, including our monarchs, by doing some simple things. Let's talk about those simple things, right? Number one, the biggest one that you could do is plant native plants. Okay, native plants provide the nectar that your hummingbirds and butterflies drink. It provides the pollen that the bees use, right? And it provides host sites for eggs and caterpillars, right? Milkweed, our native milkweeds, are essential for monarchs to survive. Milkweed is the host plant. Host plant meaning it is the plant that they rely on. They will use no other plant to lay the monarchs. Okay? So if that doesn't make you want to go out and buy milkweed plants right now, right? But there are other plants, right? Bee balm, cardinal flower, royal cat, some of those ones that really help pollinators do their natural pollinator thing. So there is a whole list, a slew of them. Use a hobby guide or a field guide that gives some direction. You could use the resources of experts like Andrew from Good Steward Ecoscapes, or the team at Possibly Place Nursery. Use the experts that we have in our community. They will help guide you to the right plants that will help pollinators. So if you really want to try to create that pollinator garden this summer, there is still time. Okay, there's still lots of time. You can still create that pollinator garden. You gotta just use the resources, or find the resources yourself that are going to give you the answers for the plants that you need to provide. Okay, I really recommend, don't forget, Andrew from Good Steward Ecoscapes will have another day at his plant sale tomorrow from 10 to 4 p.m. So stop by, chat with Andrew, just ask him how to create that. And hey, if you're not super handy in landscaping, he can help do it for you. So you just have to talk to him and get him in get the schedule set, and he can come out and do it for you. He is the resource. Okay, find the resource if you are unable to do it yourself. The other thing that you can provide is clean water, because all pollinators, like all of our birds, need water. And they need water not only to drink, but also to cool off. Okay, so pollinators prefer shallow water, much more shallow than some of our shallow bird baths. But I grabbed this one because I think this would be perfect for a pollinator water source. And yes, it's actually a hanging bird bath or a hanging seed feeder, however you would want to use it. We have a couple of different ones like this. But I think this is just perfect. You could probably add a few of those cute little glass stones in here so you could still see the design, but it makes it even shallower for the pollinators. Okay, they're looking for something shallow that's easy kind of to reach, get into it, or get closer to that water without becoming submerged. Even puddled areas of mud, and we think that's probably not a great spot, or in my case, like in my backyard, I call it the marsh, because right after the spring, after all the snow melts, we just get bombarded with all the water from our neighbors above us, and it just drains right into our backyard. So our backyard becomes very marshy and very wet, but it becomes a great place for butterflies to seek nutrients from the soil that gets into the water. They really kind of like that muddy water. So it's kind of cool, right? The other thing that you can do to help pollinators is skip those pesticides, right? Create that natural space, provide the water, and skip the chemicals, all right? Now, one thing I do want to say is that even some of the chemicals that claim to be organic can be harmful to some of our pollinators. So it's really, really important to read the labels and try to use more natural methods to pest control, or taking out different pest plants in your yard. So be mindful of that even if it says organic, sometimes it's going to be harmful to pollinators still. Unfortunately, the chemical companies like to use terms that seem like you're doing the right thing, but it's all a sales gimmick to sell their chemicals. So be mindful of that and make sure we're reading the instructions and that it's going to do the job that you really want it to do. All right? Remember, our birds are our natural pest control. And guess what? It's free. They do all the work with not even a penny cent given to them for their labor. Okay? Even if you had no feeder up, they would still be your natural pest control in your backyard. All right? I think adding the feeder is just giving extra bonuses for you to be able to see them and appreciate them a little bit closer and for a little bit longer. Right? So, don't forget, we have this giveaway tonight. You can win this really cool field guide on all of our butterflies and moths and learn a little bit about them. And you can earn this field guide for free by just liking this post, sharing this post to your own page this Friday Live, and then in the comments write pollinator, and then you'll be entered to win the field guide. All right? So let's talk about some other pollinator friendly items that we carry here at our store at Wild Birds Unlimited. So we did talk about the bird bath, right, or the pollinator bath, the pollinator water source. I do have some puddlers, but they're kind of they're getting ready to go to an off-site event. So if you want those puddlers, you have to come by Pollinator Party tomorrow. But we do have some other items that are great for pollinators, providing either shelter or nesting sites or food for them. Okay, let's talk about them. So hummingbirds, you knew I was going to start with hummingbirds first, didn't you? Of course, hummingbirds are one of my favorites. And an easy way to attract them and to see them more frequently in your yard is by putting out a feeder. So hummingbird nectar recipe is a 4-to-1 ratio of water and sugar. So you can mix that yourself, or you can purchase pre-made nectar or granuled sugar that's in bag, maybe perhaps with nectar defender, and add water to it. Be sure that when you're buying pre-made nectar of any kind, that it uses no red dye. Okay, red dye is really unnecessary, and it's actually scientifically proven to be harmful to our birds. So no red dye. Skip the red dye. Go all natural. No substitutes to regular table sugar. So you just want that white table sugar that you are going to make your chocolate chip cookies with, right? Okay, just no honey, no sweet and low, nothing different. Just regular plain white table sugar and water is all you need to create your own nectar. All right, and put it in one of these feeders. I love this high perch hummingbird feeder because not only is it top dishwasher safe to use it, but it allows your hummingbirds to perch and rest. We know, just like you and I, we don't like to stand and eat. Give your birds a place to sit, they will stay longer and ultimately give you longer views, which is all what we want, right? But this particular model also has a built-in ant moat, so you fill this part right in here with water so the ants won't be able to cross and get to your nectar. So it has quite a bit of cool features, and again, there is no yellow on this, so it's not going to attract bees and other wasps that may want to go into your nectar. This one prevents a lot of those things. So consider offering nectar for our pollinators, such as hummingbirds, right? This is one of our butterfly feeders. So one of your best butterfly feeders is going to be your yard, right? The plants that you provide. But just like hummingbird feeders, a butterfly feeder can attract butterflies to your feeder or a closer spot so that you get to watch them closer. I'm pretty sure that the nectar recipe for butterflies is a 6-to-1 ratio, but similar to my high perch hummingbird feeder, this one has a built-in ant moat, so again it keeps the ants from being able to get at it. It also has all these little holes. That is where the butterflies are going to drink up that nectar. You might be asking, what are these little pads for, these little dishes? And that's for actually putting very sweet, sugary foods, like perhaps a banana slice on. Because yes, in fact, they will eat sugary foods. And a side fact of this is that it does attract some gnats, which can go for those sugary foods like banana. Hummingbirds are huge eaters of insects like gnats, so it may be actually work as a insect feeder for your hummingbirds as well. How cool is that, right? Bees are another big pollinator, and while we don't necessarily have token feeders for your bees, other than maybe your landscape in your backyard, what we can provide for bees are housing. And the bees I'm talking about are your solitary bees, the native solitary bees like mason bees, who will drill a little hole or use the holes that are provided in a house like this to lay their eggs for the next season. Yeah. Oh yeah? Well, maybe call them in. But you know who else likes gnats are gnat catchers. And they are often a very little bird that hangs out in your trees. One of my favorite ones is the blue-gray gnat catcher. If you get a chance, go look them up on All About Birds at Cornell. They have the cutest little faces. But very small little birds, and they eat almost all insects, including gnats. So, so this bee house is cleanable. So you unscrew the bottom here, and all these different levels of these houses, or these holes, will be able to get cleaned out. Because what can happen over winter is that sometimes things like mites and different pests may take up home and try to go after larvae that may be placed in here even the next season. So we always like to clean them out, okay? Just like you will for a nest box for a bird. So that's one here. This one is another style. So this one, and I make sure that you can see it, all the tubes in here. Get this tubes out so you can see what's going on in here. So similar to this house, this one uses, you would replace the tubes the following spring once your bees have left the tubes in the beginning of spring. You will replace it so that they can use it again for the next year. And yes, these are all made out of I want to say like compressed cardboard. So it's still very sustainable and recyclable. But the idea is that we want to replace those tubes or clean them out so that they're fresh and safe for the pollinators to use the next year. Kind of like this one, don't you? And it just sits right in here, slides in, and it locks into place so it's not going to fall off. And then yes, it comes with the hardware to be able to attach it somewhere. Maybe near your house or near your garden where they can find pollen to help produce their next offspring. So that's a really cool one. And last but not least, I want to talk about bats, because bats are another incredible powerhouse pollinator. And we do have several types of bats that stay here in Illinois. And yes, you can put up a bat house and attract them and provide the housing for them. So if you kind of look up here, there are these three little chambers, and yes, they are grooved so that when the bats fly in there, they have somewhere to cling onto so that they can sleep. And then once it hits dusk, you start to see them coming out, and it's pretty incredible. Bats can eat thousands of bugs every night. So if you really want to help control the mosquito population or the gnat population in your backyard, you might want to consider putting out a bat box to help with that and attract them and provide the housing that they really need. Now, if we don't put out bat housing, where are they going? They're going to tree cavities, much like the competition is for your birds to find safe housing to not only raise their young, but to seek shelter in unfavorable weather. Your bats are doing the same. And since we're unfortunately in a culture where if we have an unwanted tree or a tree that is not looking so great, we like to cut it right down. If we could leave more tree stumps or partial trees, those deadwood snags are great housing and great food suppliers to many of our birds and our pollinators that rely on them. So consider putting out a bat house. Now this is just one style. I have the flat styles. We have a wide variety of them. But the idea is that you're providing the housing for pollinators in your own backyard. It's pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. I love the smell of that. It's like cedar and it smells so good. Alrighty. So we have those tools to help you build your own pollinator paradise. So whether it's a bee house or a bat house or a nectar feeder for a butterfly or a hummingbird, we can help support you, and we can help support and help those pollinators, those mighty little heroes that are providing a huge chunk of our food sources, our own food supplies here that we can consume. Don't forget, tomorrow is the last day for the Good Steward Ecoscapes native plant sale. It's a great way to not only help pollinators by providing native plants, but it's just plain fun. Creating those pollinator spaces, and then you get to see the pollinators in action. It's so wonderful, guys. It's so wonderful. So come in and take advantage of that. Another great supplier and resource is Possibly a Place Nursery. They will also provide plants, and you can go there. I want to say during the week they have some open hours at their location in Moni. It is a little bit of a trek here from Joliet, but it's well worth it if you've never gone there. But a close resource is coming by here tomorrow at the store, and we'll have native plants for sale that can help pollinators right in your own backyard. All right, so 3 easy actions that we can do to help pollinators. Plant native plants, provide clean water, and skip the pesticides, right? 3 things that you can do right off the bat that's pretty darn easy. Now, if you want to take it a step further and add a bat house or a bee house, add those nectar feeders out there, you are going to just be a pollinator hotspot. If I was a pollinator, I probably could not resist coming to your house. So it's definitely worth giving them a helping hand. If we can create those safe spaces and create more habitat for them, they are going to be more and more full. I don't know about you, but I want to make sure that my children and their children and their children get to experience the magic of pollinators. I want them to be able to hold or let a butterfly land in their hand. I want them to be able to witness bees moving from plant to plant, spreading pollen. I want them to be able to see hummingbirds lapping nectar up from their hummingbird feeder. I want them to be able to witness at dusk when it's starting to go into nighttime. I want them to witness bats flying overhead. I want them to witness a lunar moth, at night doing its moth thing. It's absolutely incredible, but they will only be around here with help from you. So consider making a pollinator paradise in your own yard this year. All right? So come by the store and check that out. Stop by for the native plant sales. And don't forget, we're doing a giveaway tonight. Make sure you like this Facebook Live, share it on your page, and write pollinator in the comments. And I'll enter your name to win the giveaway butterflies and pollinator field guide. All right? Check out the lunar moth, guys. Oh, right here. It's absolutely stunning. If you've never seen one before, it's incredible. Or even the hummingbird moth. I don't know if I have a picture on it here, but man, it is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Red-headed woodpecker left town, not seen him lately. Well, could be a couple things going on, but my guess is that he might be busy with babies. So once babies start hatching, a lot of our birds won't visit our feeders as frequently as they did before they had babies. Okay? Because what happens is that their young are likely being raised on insects. 98% of our songbird species, including woodpeckers, raise their young on insects. So while the adults may come to our feeders for what I like to call adult takeout, for that easy grab of reliable food that you're providing, they won't be hitting it as frequently because they are very busy foraging for their natural food for their babies. Now, once those babies fledge and leave the nest cavity, right, they will likely bring them back. But it's not unheard of that we start to see a little bit dip in feeder activity during the June and July time frame, just because of nesting season and what's happening with the timing of babies. So in fact, soon coming up here, we're going to see a dip in oriole activity. Our orioles are going to be busy raising their young, and they won't be hitting the feeders like they were a couple weeks ago. The decline will happen, and it happens with many of our species of birds that would typically visit more frequently. So don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing you did. I'm sure it's all about things that he is doing. But the cool thing is once they come, when they fledge, they're going to bring their babies to your feeder because they want to show them what feeders is all about and the awesome, reliable food that you're providing for them. So that's what my heart tells me on what's happening with your red-headed woodpecker. It's probably not too much on that there's something that has happened to him or something that you did that scared him off. It's more likely that it's just busy with babies. And once those babies leave the nest, they are becoming in full force. Now it's really cool. Gotta check out a photo of a juvenile red-headed woodpecker because they look like they're bald. Because like unlike their adult counterparts where they have that red head completely, the juveniles are all gray. So it kind of looks a little weird. But it's so cool to see. So keep it up and let me know. Keep letting me know. Oh, that's so exciting, Donna. I'm so excited to hear that you're still getting grosbeaks through your yard. Maybe you'll have some babies soon. That's exciting. All right, guys, you have a great Friday. Well, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, Pollinator Party at Isla Cache happens tomorrow from 10 to 3 p.m. You're welcome to come by there. Go over there and check out. I know Incredible Bats will be there with their bats, but we have there's some other kind of cool kids activities and adult activities, and I know there will be a native plant sale over there from the Nature Foundation of Will County. But don't forget, if you are not looking for something big to do and want to just grab plants and go, you might have better luck coming over here to the Good Steward Eco Escape plant sale, so you don't have to fight a crowd, parking and all of that. You can just come by here and grab some plants. All right? You guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy National Pollinator Month and enjoy your birds, and we'll see you next Friday. All right, see you then.